And one of the most enthusiastic and certainly generous fans of Morocco's national team is businessman Yossi Dahan. He's the owner of El Dan Group, which is Israel's biggest auto leasing and rental car company. Now, Dahan was born in Morocco in 1941 and emigrated here while a teen, but he maintains a strong love for his native land to the point that he's providing special cash bonuses for Morocco's World Cup team. Here's what he told I-24 News.
I'm giving each player on the team, including the coach, $10,000. If they advance next round, I will give another $10,000. If they advance to the round after that, another $10,000. And then another $10,000 if they take the World Cup. I left Morocco, but Morocco never left me. So I have the opportunity to give a present to the people in Morocco. I think peace agreements are made between leaders, but it's the people who fulfill the peace. And if I give this present, it is as if I am extending my hand in peace to the Moroccans, and they will see that Israelis do not have horns, and we extend our hands in peace to everyone.
That's what I call a fan. Well, joining me in the studio for more is our Middle East correspondent, Alec Pollard. But first, let's jump over to Doha in Qatar and speak to Joey Leizerowitz. He's our I-24 News correspondent there at the World Cup now. And Joey, just give us an idea, a sense of the atmosphere there in Qatar when Morocco won that big victory, upset victory over Spain.
Oh, it's definitely a crazy party-like atmosphere. Something that many people have said have been missing from this World Cup is the party in the streets. Well, if it was missing, it's definitely not missing anymore. It was crazy. There's supposedly 50,000 Moroccans here in Doha for the World Cup. Whether or not that number is accurate, who knows? But it definitely felt like that after the victory. And it's definitely something to be proud of, especially after the host nation's difficult campaign in the group stage. You see all of the Arab countries coming together, and even if you're not Moroccan, if you're from this region, you're cheering for Morocco.
All right, I'm going to correct myself. Joey's in the Gulf, but in Dubai right now. Alec, of course, people in the region cheering Morocco. There's another political side to this, though. What we've been seeing, and including there in that game, though, are Palestinian flags. Even Morocco celebrating with those flags, despite the Abraham Accords. Maybe a reminder of the sort of complex politics this is taking the background of this tournament.
Well, first of all, concerning also what was said earlier, Morocco is considered at this point to be representative of the Arab world because the other Arab teams, Tunisia, Saudi Arabia, and the host Qatar have all been knocked out. And we have seen a lot of sort of pan-Arab solidarity in this World Cup for the Arab teams. And when talking about that pan-Arab solidarity, then also the Palestinian cause, which is one of the things in the Arab world that creates a lot of unity as opposed to all the divisions that we know that exist in the Arab world. We've seen a lot of support for the Palestinians, and we saw even the Moroccan players with Palestinian flags after the victory against Spain, but also after their final match in the group stage. And we've seen in the stands huge flags of a free Palestine, and we've seen in the streets of Doha activists handing out Palestine flags to various people there. Now, what's interesting about this is the fact that technically at the FIFA World Cup, at least in the stadiums, political messaging is not allowed. Now, there is a possibility that there may be some type of fine for the Moroccan Federation for this, but also we should note that various other political messages have not been received quite so warmly as the Palestinian one. For instance, Iranian dissidents who are protesting against the regime and who tried to enter the stadium with the traditional Iranian flag, the one with the lion and the sun, not the one with the symbol of the Islamic Republic, were literally tackled to the ground by the Qatari security forces in order to not be allowed to enter the stadium with that flag that represents a type of a political point, while the many, many Palestinian flags were allowed into the stadium. We also had the case of the American fan who had the LGBT rainbow sign on his arm, an armband, who was also bundled out of the stadium by the security forces while these Palestinian flags are allowed in. So this isn't surprising. This is what you could potentially expect from a country like Qatar, which is an authoritarian country where there is not freedom of speech unless it is the speech that the Qataris want to see, which, when it comes to the support for the Palestinians, is is the case.
And Joey, you remind that we have noted certainly the many Israeli fans who have been permitted to go and enjoy the World Cup in Qatar despite the lack of relations. But Qatar, a major backer of the Palestinians, and reports, we've seen through our reports some uncomfortable moments, especially with Israeli journalists there.
Yeah, I mean, so far, the uncomfortable moments seem to be mostly only with Israeli journalists. You know, the Israeli government said to the fans coming here, please keep a low profile. And we've seen that, you know, at most World Cups in the past, we've seen big Israeli flags in the stands, people fly over all over Israel to the World Cups. It's obviously a huge soccer nation, even if they haven't made the World Cup in a while. And it's something we haven't seen in this World Cup at all. So it's definitely that contradiction to past tournaments. Obviously, you know, it's more, we've seen fans speaking Hebrew. You know, it hasn't been a problem on the street, but if you're talking about it openly as a journalist, it's definitely more of a problem. Interestingly enough, at the last game that we attended, Brazil versus South Korea, there was a fan in front of us who right after the match had ended, brought out a Beitar Yerushalayim flag, obviously a club in Israel from Jerusalem. He took a quick photo, and within 10 seconds, that flag was back in his bag. So clearly, he did not want to bring attention to himself as an Israeli, and that seems to be the key here. People are keeping a very low profile if they're speaking Hebrew or if they're from Israel.
Right. I will note, I'm not sure that everybody over there would even recognize a Beitar Jerusalem flag, but certainly I think that is the kind of thing that should be kept as low-key as possible.
Well, it was almost bought, the team, by Sheikh from the United Arab Emirates, so maybe some of the people there do know about the club.
Maybe they do, and that club has a very tangled history, of course, right, with Arab players, which is more of an Israeli soccer lore. Joey Leizerowitz in the golf, Alec Pollard here in the studio. Thank you for that. And Morocco taking next either England and France. It's going to be an interesting game.